What's up, everybody? Welcome to Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso, and this will be part 2 of becoming a career drug offender. Okay, so what I've done in part 1 is I've outlined 2 convictions. That is a cocaine conviction in California and a cocaine conviction in Arkansas. Both of them were possession with the intent to distribute. I also mentioned going to jail innocent on a parole violation. So before I get into my second wife, or Barbara, let me go back on that for just a second. So I spent from November to April, that is 1994 to 1995, in the Sebastian County Detention Center, fighting that charge. Ultimately, what happened is my lawyer decided to use the parole revocation hearing as kind of a mock trial. So what we did is we called all the witnesses that we believed would be beneficial to any real trial, because I was fighting that case. Like I said, I was innocent. It was driving me crazy. I was out of my mind over all that, and it really sucks being in prison or any jail cell when you're completely set up. So we had the hearing. It was an hour and 45-minute parole revocation hearing. Ex-wife came in, her boyfriend's brother, friends, co-workers, and it was really hard because I knew one of them had set me up, and I was a little crazy. So I ended up kind of jumping out of the chair at my ex-wife's boyfriend, scared him a bit, and that's really what got what I believe the reason why they found me guilty. It wasn't the possession charge, because anybody could see that I was innocent of that case. But ultimately, what happened was my parole was done. I was released, and the prosecutor let me take a polygraph test to prove my innocence. And you know what? I failed. I didn't fail. It came back inconclusive. And, I thought that was some kind of conspiracy against me, or, how can I come up inconclusive when I was 100% innocent? Well, the prosecutor thankfully realized that something didn't smell right. And he allowed me to plead no contest to 10 years with 9 years, 6 months, or whatever, suspended. So although I didn't get additional jail time for that case, I did get a new charge. So now I had 3 felony drug convictions as an adult on my record. Okay, so I was released from prison, and on May the 19th, 1995, me and my pen pal, Barbara Leanne Beatty, met in the flesh. We met down in Hot Springs, Arkansas, stayed at the Lake Hamilton Resort, which has since closed, and spent the weekend together. At the time, I was doing meth, drinking meth in my coffee every morning, smoking weed. Barbara was sober, going to rehab every day. I had a warrant still pending out of California. That is, I didn't finish my probation. I violated my probation period, so I had a 4-year suspension over my head. So when they caught up with me, I was to do for sure a year in California, but up to 2 years and 2 months. Barbara and I, after the weekend we spent together, decided to move in together. Again, we're both idiots. I had every intention of starting to deal drugs again. I wasn't really sure where she was going, nor did I care. I just wanted her with me. I was high. We had an addiction towards one another, and that's what happened. We moved in together, and we had 3 great weeks, and then it was just chaos, hell, good times, bad times, crazy times, whatever you want to say. I also never started dealing drugs or didn't start dealing drugs right away. One of the reasons is because I was unsure of her. I didn't really know her. I know what I felt about her. I know the chemistry we had, but I didn't know her. And I had a lawsuit pending where I was going to get a substantial amount of money, and I decided to move into like the bad area of Hot Springs just to see if how we would do. And my check finally arrived. So when my check arrived, we took off to California. I'm skipping a lot. There's a lot of things that happened that weren't good between us. We fought a lot, and that's putting it mildly. But the makeup was, just like anything else, was great. Add the methamphetamine on top of that. Add the crack she started smoking and the mess she started doing, and you just had that whole chaotic scene. So I went to California, got in contact with some drug connections, and started selling. Had marijuana sent back to Arkansas. We got a place in the woods, and we started dealing. Now, I say we, but I probably shouldn't say that, because the truth is, for the 5+ months that me and Barbara were together, she did all the dealing. I had the connection. We didn't sell anything else but pot. There was sometimes I would get some personal meth, or maybe an ounce, and sell an 8-ball or something like that. But all in all, she was the one dealing our drugs. That lasted until October of 1995, when one night we got in a fight. I kicked her out. Of course, a couple days later I came down, and a couple days later I went and searched for her. And when I went and found her, she'd been smoking crack for a couple days, and we were driving. I was speeding. She had an open container on her, and we got arrested. She gave a fake name. I had a warrant out of California, and we got locked up in the Logan County Detention Center in Paris, Arkansas. The day after we got arrested, when we were going to court on misdemeanor charges, actually, I asked the judge if he can marry us, and I hadn't been to sleep yet. Matter of fact, I say I came down and went and found her. I think I took a nap, but I was speeding, and I was definitely tweaked out of my head still when I asked the judge to marry us. But nevertheless, they allowed us to get married in the Logan County Detention Center. A day later, a couple days later, she went down to the Arkansas Department of Corrections on a parole violation. I ended up getting out for about 10 days or so, and then the governor finally signed a warrant, and California came and got me. So to California Department of Corrections I went. For, let's say, I went in November of 1995. They gave me time credit for the time that was run concurrent in Arkansas. It's a bit of a mess. If I lost you, I'm sorry. I had a California charge. I ran, then I got an Arkansas charge, and I was able to get the California charge run concurrent with my Arkansas charge. Good lawyers and payoffs. That's what really happened. Good old boy system. Lawyer knew the judge in California. That always helps. So I ended up doing just over a year, I think it was, in Chino. I got out in September of 1996. The entire time I was in Chino, I walked the trek every day. In prison, I'm a walker. I love to put my headphones on, put my radio on loud. That's a violation in prison because you can't hear what's going on around you a lot of times, but that's what I did. Didn't care about if I can get hit, smashed, whatever. That's what I did. And I used to fantasize about what I was going to do when I got out. And what I was going to do was sell more drugs than I've ever sold in my life. So the whole time I was in prison, I was just preparing for when I got out. And what that looked like was I was going for it. Didn't know exactly what type of drugs, didn't know how much they cost, didn't know what clientele I was going to use. But I knew that when I got out, I was going to start rolling. And as I walked the track, I'd fantasize about the locations I would live, some people I'd associate with, girls I would go out with, cars I would drive, roads I would drive on, and stuff like that. And you know, when I got out, September 1996, and when I started dealing again, into January, beginning of February 1997, all that stuff I used to walk and think about came true. Cars weren't the same as I'd fantasize about. I used to think of Porsches, Mercedes. When I was in Chino, ended up being Corvettes, were the expensive car I had, or the fast cars, or whatever. I had houses, 4 total, and they looked different, you know. Although I will say a trailer that we had up in northern Arkansas that are people bought us was pretty close to the one I imagined, because I always imagined having, you know, a few places. I used to like to do the owner financing thing because it was good for it to launder drug money through owner financing. But yeah, so that I have laid out how I became a career drug offender. What comes next is the conspiracy that landed me in prison with life without the possibility of release. And what I think I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this one short. Maybe people like the short videos better, I'm not sure. But the next time you see my face, I'm going to detail the conspiracy, what happened from start to finish, everything that happened in 1997, all the way up into my trial. And I'll end it there. And after that, I'll go ahead and go into the prison stories that I know so many of you are waiting for. Hope you had a great weekend, coming off of the 4-day weekend. Thank you for sticking with me. Those of you that have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. Again, if you would, please like my Facebook page. The link is actually Convict Incorporated, but the page says Convict Inc. That is because the other Convict Inc. pages were mine, or somebody that helped me put it together, and can't seem to get a hold of them, or they can't seem to disappear. Anyway, I'm going to do, Marta and I are going to do kind of a video diary of our relationship, how it begun. And we're going to do most of it on that platform. But the part that we speak about prison issues when she came to visit me and stuff like that, we're going to do on here, because this is about prison stories. This channel is going to be for prison stories, crime and punishment, my thoughts and views about criminal justice reform, etc. So yeah, please like my page. Okay, I'm going to cut this one short. I hope you guys now have some clarity about how I became a career drug offender. And I hope you enjoyed.